You can be as creative, abstract, wild, graceful, messy, playful, serious as is true for you. And that's what I'm talking about is there are opportunities for you to really just double down on honoring you. How do you want to be seen? How do you roll? What do you like? What's your style? What's your aesthetic? How do you really speak? What do you really think about the work that you're doing in the world? And then strip away all the other shit and give it to people straight and give people more of your creative process and give people more of your story. You're telling the full story about who you really are and where you come from. Brand as leadership, brand as art, because it's kind of this never ending opportunity to just keep honoring yourself.
Welcome to the Soul Legacy Podcast, where we merge bold soul expression and soul service to live and create from overflow. This is for trailblazing creators, leaders, and low-key icons who know they're here to break cycles and shift timelines. I'm Substance, your host, creative doula, fruition catalyst, and freestyle artist, walking with you through the raw, real process of birthing what your soul came here to contribute. This is your reverence space to anchor your devotion to your essence-led path. Every episode is an invitation back to your true self and your daily walk in alignment with your values. You were born coded with everything you need to fulfill your mission and to have fun with it. We just get to remember together and make moves to share our OG codes in service to liberation and wholeness. We were born for this. Let's lock in and get into the nectar of now. Blessings and love to you. Welcome to the Soul Legacy Podcast. We have beautiful Riyaana Hartley with us today. Welcome.
Hi, so thrilled to be here. Honored.
Riyaana and I have the most magical story, so we wanted to start off sharing a little bit about how we first connected. It was Lunar New Year, and we were invited to a special place. And I just remember being in the room, feeling a little awkward, meeting a couple folks, and just being in Riyaana's presence. The moment like she turned to me and just her gaze like cracked every part of me open, and I'm just like, oh my God. I feel so received with no words, and that's one of my favorite things. And then our interaction, your first utterance toward my direction literally, again, shattered me. And, and then to this day, that cracking open allowed me to receive more of her and more of life. So we'll share more about our journey together. But that was my first encounter moment with Riyaana.
How auspicious that it was on Lunar New Year. And that was the start of our relationship. Was this Lunar New Year, Year of the Dragon?
Last year, 2024, the year of the dragon.
Yes. Shout out to the dragon that's riding with you. Yeah, that was a beautiful, potent gathering. And my recollection of you was brief, but it was one of those moments where things kind of slow down. And I shared this with you. You were bringing tea to the circle, and I felt you over my shoulder. I was sitting down on the ground, and I remember turning and looking up, and it was just this like angelic face and this light, this glow, and this sweetness. And I just remembered feeling like, what a breath of fresh air to have somebody that was in a group collective setting that was still so generously reflective of others. Because sometimes in gatherings, people can be quite like, I'm here to suck all the air out of the room. And I felt that your beauty was coming from this place of just nurturing and loving. And yeah, that was my like time slowing down moment of seeing you, connecting with you for the first time.
There was something earth shattering about it. I actually never told the story in a way where I really felt that when I started to talk about it, like cracked me open. Like I can time travel to that. So I love that time slowed down. I'm cracked open. This is our initiation for whatever we're meant to do together in this reunion from that point forward. So it's been fun.
I mean,
Um,
let's name it. Let's name it. That's the power of being seen. And that's the power of allowing oneself to be seen, which is kind of at the heart of what we're going to talk about today. Right. And so that's the magic that is possible when you can allow yourself to take other people in, and when you can also open yourself to be seen and received. It's like, whew, fucking magic. Like, that's how you find your people.
it's like my body knew that whatever we're meant, wherever we're gonna go from here was just gonna shift everything. And it was like all this tectonic shifting happenings on a cellular level, getting ready to receive that. That's literally what it felt like. In retrospect, I can be like, damn, that shit all happened like that. So thank you. Yes. 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 And I wanted to transition into sharing a little more about your story. Anything that you feel called about your journey, any moments of breakthrough that really transitioned you into fuller knowing of yourself, your worth, and also what led you to your work.
Well, first, I'll say that my work, for folks who are getting to know me for the first time, is I'm a brand alchemist, I'm a creative director, and I'm an empowerment coach. And the second time I really recall coming into connection strongly with you was when you attended a panel that I put on at Soho House. And this was a panel that I produced with other phenomenal leaders, people of color that were doing major change maker things in the arts, in business, in thought leadership. And the heart of that conversation was about leading with our identity, and how, again, that can be this portal for really being seen, really showing ourselves, like getting this vision of being a flasher, like really showing ourselves and really being seen, and what's possible when that happens. So we were talking about owning the truth of not just like who we really are in a spiritual and esoteric sense, but like centering the fact that we are first generation from somewhere else, or immigrants, or from a specific cultural background, or not being shy to bring in part of our identity expression as queer or not queer, as neurodivergent, or whatever the thing is for you, to bring all of our parts, so to speak, up on the stage. And I think this is especially important for anyone who has experienced being marginalized for who they are. So that's what that conversation was about. And it was also that leadership through identity and how it serves our work in the world. And I told my story, which was, I'm originally from Cape Town, South Africa. I was born there at literally the height of apartheid, and spent the first 9 years of my life there as a kid, a little baby growing up, against the backdrop of complete insurgence against the most injustice you can imagine. Apartheid in South Africa is like what you see in the movies when they show the Jim Crow era in the South. That's what it was like growing up there. And it was active resistance and active counter resistance from the government. And that's, that's it's a wild experience for a little person during their formative years. And so then we moved to the United States, and it was the experience of coming in and being othered, like literally, going to school and having to be like, all right, I have to tick one of these boxes. And I'm like, I'm not white, I'm not black, I'm not Latina, I'm not Asian as they're classifying it. And then like the only other option is other. And at that time in the 90s, it's like my entire young adulthood in school, actually, even through college, was having to always identify myself as other. And then you layer that in with you're living in the United States, so you're being othered even when you're not filling in paperwork. And so these are the layers of what I'm being told about myself. And I get to college, and it's at that age where we all naturally start to really critically think about, who am I? Where do I belong? How do I fit in? Who do I identify with? And thankfully, I found myself in the arms of hip hop culture. And like so many young people, people of color, immigrants, anyone who has any relationship to a marginalized community, this becomes a safe haven, because hip hop culture is really about anyone can express themselves. Even if you have no resource to do so, you literally don't need shit. You can stand on the corner and cipher. You can dance on the concrete. You can use a wall as your canvas, you know? And so this amazing culture is where I start to find my footing, and I'm emboldened to express myself, because thankfully that's the other dope part about hip hop culture. It's like, no, fuck you. What I've got is dope, and let me tell you all about it. And let me keep my head held high, regardless of the circumstance and whoever has their boot on your neck, right? And thank goodness for that, because now I'm starting to get this sense of who I am and what I'm capable of. It kind of becomes this torch inside of me that I carry with me as I move into work after university. So I started doing marketing and did really well for myself as essentially a specialist with cultural marketing and marketing to communities of color or niche communities. Then, next thing you know, I'm working in a traditional advertising agency. And after a little while, I realize my spirit is desperate for me to leave, because I'm in there and getting promoted and, working on these multi-million dollar projects and on set for commercials. But it's all to sell lottery tickets to African Americans, or beer to the Asian community, or shitty mortgages to, the Black community. And I was like, yo, I did not come this far to do this after everything I've been through. And so I bounced, I left, and I started to pursue my own healing and started to lend my talents to businesses and projects and artistic endeavors that I actually aligned with. And that was the start of me slowly taking ownership of my career, leading to this point today where I have my own business and my own brand.
I was so captivated. I thought you were going to keep going. I'm like, wait. Feels like there's missing parts. Well, I want to know a little bit more about your brand before we transition into our work. Yeah. Oh, yes. I mean, is there anything else you want to say about that locking in of, okay, because you were with marketing with this realm and you realized this angle was damaging or not, serving or feeding the world and the experience you wanted to have or for others to have. So what sparked in you, and what is a core value or a core approach about the way that you do branding, the way that you do marketing now?
It's the integration piece. It's at the time, there was no evidence for it. There was just this courage and this intuition to align with what I knew to be true and with what interested me. And so when I broke out of the ad agency, I became a yoga teacher. I led retreats around the world. I taught stand up paddleboard yoga around the world. And I, more importantly, also started my own healing journey. And so this becomes a common thread and part of the essence of my current brand. This healing journey to own my own story, to learn to love myself, to cultivate a relationship with the divine, to, yeah, have my own practice of spirituality and to take a stand for the fact that, in a world where everybody says things like, it's not business, it's personal, and people believe that they have to follow these templates for how things are done, I always knew that there's a lane that we can carve for ourselves where we can do the damn thing and not have to closet our spirituality, not have to closet our healing journey, not have to closet our creativity and our expression, our beliefs and the things that we're advocating for. And how that all comes together in this moment is I tell my clients that it's all of those things about you that actually expand your work and help you find your people and make your brand that much more distinct. So that's about my brand. It's a heavy, as you know, it's a heavy focus on intuition and spirit and imagination and story and learning to be a loving witness to ourselves.
Yeah, thank you. This is such a perfect transition. I'm feeling soul signature in everything that you described, and just physical experience in all of upbringing and these strange strange geometries of what it is to be human on Earth. And then, oh, I'm in this ad agency. What the fuck am I doing here? Or for me, I have a million of those moments. And then ultimately, all of it, I call it a precise quantum unlocking, that every single circumstance, every single geometry of a relationship, of a moment, is all culminating to the medicine that we are right now, which has to include everything for us to show up in that full authenticity. And that's where soul signature comes in. It's like no one's lived our journey. So then we get to offer our medicine from welcoming our full self. And then we can welcome those that we serve in their fullness because we've done that work, right? And that's all just connecting as we transition into our work together. Riyaana and I worked together for a big chunk of 2024. I mean, it was like July till almost the end of the year. And I just was going through so many moments of deep, like, the kind of shadow realms that would have taken me out for at least a year before. And I was coming out of a kind of dark night of the ego. People might call it dark night of the soul, but someone was like, that's some ego shit. That ain't soul. Soul's not, soul doesn't go there really. So whatever it was, but it was just really deep. And I've had a lot of moments of clinically maybe called depression, disconnection on and off for a lot of years of my life. So I kind of just been coming out of that. And Riyaana and I started our work, which took me into another realm with it all. But all to share, like, one of the things I was reflecting on was that even though what Rihanna's capable of in terms of what I wanted to do, what I intended to do when we entered the container together, which is I'm clear on my mission. I've been clear on my mission technically since 2020 and have been refining for those 4 years up until then. So a lot of me wanted to lean into, okay, it's been 4 years. You don't have like a fucking single sentence clarity of what this is. Like, you don't, not yet. Okay, cool. So just a lot of me wanted to lock in. I can feel Rihanna's potency, and I know that she could support me to really be with all these writings and channelings and all this insane amounts of information that have come through, and just bring it down into something that feels good in my body, feels true on every level, and I can communicate to whoever I'm meant to serve, and they can feel that signal because I've done that refining. So I wanted that. And what it actually looked like in our container was a lot of just being with what is. And what was at the time was a lot of questioning, a lot of doubting. I essentially needed to be witnessed and seen in the rawness of what was coming up. And I just remember leaving memos to Riyaana. I had to let go of the judgment and hiding in and of itself of how long some of these things were and how shadowy they got, and just surrender into that. That was a big chunk of our time together, was me just being fucking real about what I was experiencing on a day to day that was interfering with my ability to even focus on my bigger mission, because I was just like, holy shit, this is in front of me and I'm judging myself and I'm judging the circumstance and I feel this way and that way. And Riyaana just was just such a grace angel in all of that. And that was the work that I needed to do. And we had moments of weaving in soul fluency and different things, but this was part, and I'll close with this. And and I'd love to hear anything that's coming up for you. But that was part of me getting to this more fluent space with the soul coming through. And I'm still in this process, ongoing forever. The parts work type stuff, which I'm deep in right now. But just to say, like, all that calcification from trauma or different conditioning, different moments throughout this incarnation, and even lineage healing, if I'm carrying that in my body, in the parts of my subconscious, the parts when there's space for them or I'm welcoming and allowing, then they'll come through and I'll get to listen and embrace and bring some of the support systems and the intelligence I'm receiving from someone like Riyaana to help me really be with that and not reject it and not do what I used to do, which I didn't notice I was doing, either suppressing or denying or whatever it was. But now that I'm welcoming more of myself and these parts that are in the shadows or in the different hidden spaces, then I can show up more fully to my work and to this refinement process and all the lessons and all the gems and gifts of welcoming these aspects of myself allow me to go that much deeper into everything that I'm doing. And so basically, since working with Riyaana and well, during that time and since our time together has absolutely catalyzed such depth in that process that has allowed me to be here now almost I don't even know time anymore. What year is it? I don't know. But like a while later, it's been a good 6 months and I'm like, ooh, so this is what allowed me. All of that helps me get here now. And it's all on time, even if I feel behind, which was a huge theme of what our time together was. It's like, oh my gosh, I feel so behind in life. So I think that's so relatable. I'll pause and just see,
Yeah.
hear anything that you're feeling with this.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It's so beautiful to feel into the progression and how you're holding yourself now. Because that was quite a time for you. And the thing is, I help people with their brand. I help people with their brand story, their messaging, articulating or pulling out of them how is it that they want to be seen in the world. So that aesthetic or style, helping to craft what are the offerings that you want to bring forth. So these are all very kind of cut and dry services in the branding world. And the reason why I said all those things earlier about choosing my own path so that I could marry all of my experience, all of my background, all of my interest is so that when I'm with people, it's not just like, yeah, 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 yeah. Let's get to your tagline. Yeah, 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 yeah. Let's get to your offer suite. Let's, you know, hurry up and finish your bio. Let's wrap up this website. That's not it. That's really not it. It's a process that on the other side, the lasting takeaway should be that we have more experience in being with ourselves patiently, compassionately, knowing that that's the shit right there. That's the juice, that's the gem. So you have to take the best care of yourself and your heart. And that means being patient. It means having compassion. What you sent me in a voice memo in preparation for this call when you reflected on just being able to meet you where you were at and be with you. Honestly, that sometimes is more important than crafting the perfect copy. Because, like you said, you knew what you wanted since 2020. You, even before that, I'm sure, you knew your purpose, you knew your passion, you knew where you wanted to go. You have the OG codes. You know what I mean? Like you have it all within you just like everybody else does. And the thing that helps it to unlock and click into gear is settling in with ourselves, making it okay to be with whatever the fuck is coming up. And for you at that time, I think it was just having the space and the time to acclimate, to let yourself know that things were different now, soothe, regulate. I told you this from the get go, are one of the most prolific people I know, like bars on bars on bars, not just in a cipher, but when it comes to your vision and your work and how you nurture and serve creative legends. And so that was never the issue, right? the issue was, how can we settle in with substance? like how can we make peace with the process, because it's not gonna always be like a train schedule. I think you navigated it so well. And I have full trust that all of the technical things and the practical things and those kind of logistics and tools, those seeds are there. And the moment you're ready and excited, that's what makes fast work. It's like spirit, the soul, the body is like, now it's go time. Everything's already there. It's already there. And that's when you get to just be like, this is fun as shit. I'm just going to lock in and flow. Because Riyaana gave me the structure and the guidance on how to do the damn thing with this brand and this messaging and this leading with my art, and everything else I know innately. And you just get to practice trusting and practice utilizing your intuition and practice enjoying the ride. So, patience is a virtue, whatever. But it's so true.
I wrote down 3 things you just said. I love it all. And it's so, I mean, this is why we're so aligned. It's so fucking good. And it doesn't feel like, you and I as individuals or whatever. It's literally because we're tapping into this frequency that is I mean, truth is a word for it, but it's just like, what's really going on the energetics? It's like, okay, creating that space. To me, I'm feeling it and experiencing it as dilation. Like when I'm with more of myself and I allow these parts that have been contracted or hidden for so long to just be in my embrace and relax, then my whole body and my whole receptive field opens to receive more of who I truly am, what I'm meant to transmit, what I'm meant to offer, what I'm meant to receive, and then give and be in reciprocity above with this realm in all directions. And so what I just wrote of what you just said too is it was flow, the innate aspect, and then the practice aspect. So like the flow state mastery is how I've been feeling it and calling it. That includes freestyling, but really freestyling is a reference point, an energetic, visceral experience to feel aligned expression, to feel being in the pocket. But ultimately, I'll get into it in another episode, but really that flow state applied to all realms. Flow state with the energetics, but also flow state with the expression. I'm just having fun with it, right? So that practicing of enjoying it and just trusting intuition, and ultimately that it's innate. And that's the OG code that Riyaana brought up. And it's definitely in the language of soul fluency. The OG code is the original soul signature, our unique imprint, what we were gifted with to bring to this earth in this unique embodiment at this exact time.
One of the ways that I self-reference often is I refer to myself as a late bloomer ahead of her time.
Ooh, nice.
And what you just said reminded me of that. And because I had the visual as you were speaking of, something that's underground and it just spends so much time nourishing its roots. And on the surface, it's like, yo, are you going to sprout or what? You going to come up here? You going to do the damn thing and be a tree or be a blossom? Like, what's going on down there? And it's getting the most important things right and ready. The stuff below ground, the deepening of the roots, the feeling safe, the moving through the doubt, which is not a bad thing. You brought up doubt earlier. And, if you're in a position where you have self doubt, fucking bravo. Because that means you're in the game. If you're in a position where you have self doubt, just go ahead and pat yourself on the back right now. Because you're up to something. Otherwise, you wouldn't have it.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah,
I've not said this before, so let's pause and check. Like, am I talking shit? Maybe, but I think I'm onto something here.
No, it's real. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So I celebrate the fact that you were like vacillating for a while with the like, this is what I know, this is what I want. And I remember there were times where I was like, documents and outlines and structures. And I was like, yo, you're ready to go. You're ready to go. It's all right here. And there were moments when you weren't ready to pull the trigger yet because some of that was doubt. And then doubt would manifest as doing other things. Well, let's make it more complicated. Or the doubt would manifest as actually, let's go follow this other idea. Great. You know why that doubt was there? You were in the game. You were slowly but surely walking towards the thing. No idea what I was going to say after that, but I'm so glad that this came up because I'm sure lots of people who will hear this will maybe shame themselves for the fact that they have a desire or have a calling and a knowing and they haven't done it yet because they're like, "Oh, doubt." And then beat themselves up for it. And it's like, "Nah, you're contending with you're fighting the right battle, and all the compassion and let that be a mirroring back that you're headed in the right direction. And if you remain resilient and take baby steps towards it, you will wear down the doubt.
Thank you. I just want to name something about parts work that I'm in right now because I'm just doing this, the untangling, like, oh, okay, that's that part. That's not the true signal. That's the overcomplicator. That's the doubter. That's the avoider. Love you. Let's all hold hands. That's the thing. Rihanna's heard it. I'm like, whether it's my 2-year-old self, five, it's an age ish or a moment in time or the doubter or the procrastinator. I'm like, okay, everyone, let's hold hands. We're moving forward. There's that part of just, I just wanted to notice that all these parts come forward and they want to come along the journey. That's what I'm learning and how to, and listening to them and noticing the distinction that that's not true. They don't get to take over my body or I'm I'm very much alive in the mothership analogy. I'm like, I'm whipping the mothership and all these parts can just be cruising around the spaceship, but I'm here. This boss mode right here. But the thing I wanted to touch on, which is related to doubt, is resistance. And I just wanted to hear anything that you might have to share about the wisdom of resistance. And I'm going to go ahead and shout out Jessie Johnson because she's the one that I heard speak about this in a way that illuminated another level of it. But it's like, well, the resistance is there for a reason. There's intelligence in that, right? So I just wanted to take a moment because it feels related to doubt, but it's also like, oh, because on a daily, I fucking experience resistance on a daily.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, I wish that feeling would go away. Why are you there getting in the way all the time? So I just wonder what your experiences with resistance and this idea of that there's intelligence or there's some type of wisdom or
Yeah.
what is that? What's there for
Yeah.
us?
Yeah. The resistance piece is real. Well, I mean, okay, the first thing that came up for me just in this moment is you can't force creativity. And for most of the folks that I work with and that are more than likely tuning into this, creativity is essential to our work and the impact that we bring forth in the world. Even if you're not a visual artist, a dancer, a musician, a writer, there's still creativity behind it. And it's not something that can be forced. It's really like the thing that you have to create conditions and space for. And when you think about it that way, it's like, how wise and self loving is that? To create the right conditions and to create space for your innate knowing, your creativity, your leadership, your channeling to come through. If we pause and think about it from that lens, we shift from like berating ourselves to, okay, well, what might be slightly off? Like, what do I need? What does my space need? What does my body need? Maybe I actually need to go get some sunlight. Maybe there's too much clutter in this room. Maybe I need to eat a proper nutritious meal. Maybe I've actually been stressing myself out or overworking. Maybe there's some people with some like shitty vibes in this space. Like it allows us to check in. You and I spoke about this often, the ability to zoom out right? See things from that higher vantage point. Um, and even as you're bringing in this piece about parts work, it's like maybe there's a part of me that needs something, and it's going to keep kicking shit up until it gets it. And so when you get the conditions right, when you get the container right, when you create this space, when things are really flowing and you're just like juiced up and ready, I feel like you could spend 5 minutes doing the thing and it's going to be brilliant. Not to say that that's all it's going to take, but when that's the starting point, when that's the constellation that you're working from, you can trust that something beautiful is going to come out of you, right? I'm thinking of like a grid. It's like, yo, you're set up for success. The other thing that I thought of is how I know this work, which is the work of unshaming, which is so essential. It's one of the threads that I try to weave in with everyone that I work with. It's something that is a lifelong practice and interest for myself. And I learned about this through a man named David Bredrick, such a G. And, this is his life's work, is being able to recognize that the thing that we do has intelligence, whether it's procrastination or some form of sabotage or resistance, that it is coming from a wise place. It's coming from, as you know, in parts work, some kind of protective place, or it's creating a condition or a circumstance where some other kind of need is being met. And so, when there's a lot of resistance, it's a cool opportunity to go a little bit deeper and lift the hood. What's going on here? What is this about? Maybe the thing that I'm forcing myself to do isn't actually the thing, or maybe there's something that's slightly off about it, which is really often the case, right? We put a lot of pressure on ourselves, and most of us have the experience of revolting against that. A lot of people won't identify as like anti-authoritarian. I mean, I do, but but nobody likes that. And if you're here like, what's the matter with me? I should have had this done years ago, and I need to get this out by such and such time. And, I'm thinking of somebody like hurting themselves trying to take a poop. It's like, that's not good for you. And some part of you is going to be like, fuck off with that. You know, I don't want to be treated that way. I don't want to be regarded that way. So there's so, like, you could literally do a whole podcast about resistance, but those are the two things that come up for me is take a step back. What are the conditions? What's the energetic state of everything that's happening? What are the circumstances? Check in with your senses. Like, can you make the room smell better? Do you need a good meal? Do you need some sun? These are real things. Do you need a nap? Do you need actually a fucking vacation? Do you need to change course? And then also check out David Bredrick.
And also check out Riyaana. The whole time you were speaking, I'm like, yo, how much support did I need with this for fucking years? Literally years and years. And to this day, I always have a mentor. I think Riyaana was there and our homie Shrikala. Shout out. When I was talking, it might have been the whole crew, but I was talking about like having an oracle deck of mentors. Like I literally have so many mentors and I love it. And I love support. I'm noticing people in my life, bless everyone, but there's certain levels of willingness around receiving support, and it is a relationship to receiving. And I'm just wanting to put this invitation in front of anyone here, even if you are receiving support, welcoming more. And it doesn't, can look whatever which way. It could be receiving support from the earth by going laying down on the grass or in the sand or wherever on the dirt, but also legit with a mentor. Because when you were saying all that, I'm like, okay, well, is it not necessarily even from the mind either? Because I got stuck up in there trying to figure shit out, like what's happening here, which part is going on, like, like who's trying to get me now? Just so then it helped to have Riyaana, and it helped to have my current mentor to be like, okay, reflecting, let's drop in let's breath, let's start there or whatever. But for me to identify some of what was arising, that resistance, that doubt, for me to see it more clearly, for me to not be taken over by it, for me to zoom out and zoom in and be with and allow those moments of being able to focus on the branding or the, right now the podcast launch in and of itself is something I'm focused on. So it's like balancing all of these things. I literally could not do this without support. So I just want to say that. And it's just such a gift to ourselves, I think, to not, for me, especially as now I'm learning about my neurodivergent. I have a huge resistance to labels, if anyone can relate, but just saying, like, fuck it, I'm gonna claim it because my brain is some weird shit. My brain is on some fucking other shit, and then like, all these other parts too. And I'm just like, okay, let's just put that label on it so it gives me more space to be like, okay,
Yeah.
yes, I'm a weirdo slash whatever. Anyway, I don't mean in a demeaning way, just to
Yep.
say that I have needs that are unique to my process. And I get to feel who's in my field or who I meet and feel that feeling I had when I met Riyaana and be like, ooh, there's an alignment here. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna stay open to that and listen. And then the moment that we started working together was so perfect. Like I literally can't imagine what my life would be without that chapter with you. So just being open to receive, open to notice when you're being gifted, and one thing I'll share as something that really came through so strong that I love so much is like, we are answered prayers. We are someone's answered prayer. So Riyaana is an answered prayer for me. And like and this podcast and anything that you want to do, whoever tunes in on any timeline, anything that's your calling, it's literally like God working through you to become and live as someone else's answered prayer. Because we bless each other. God is like speaking to us, blessing us through everyone and everything around us, even when it hurts. And I've been fucking feeling a lot of hurt lately too. And I'm like, fuck, okay, this is God too, this is all part of this journey. And so I just wanted to put that forward.
Yeah. That's important. That's important. It brilliantly connects two things that I want to touch on. One, I'm going to generalize and say we as a human species, especially if you are neurodivergent in any way, or if you have some other shit going on, we just massively tend to underestimate how long things take. Because we live in this crazy ass world that has conditioned us to believe everything needs to be Amazon delivery, put it in my hand now. Like, be an overnight success now, make six figures now. The narrative is everything should be lightning fast. It's so harmful. It's so dangerous. Like, let that land. This fallacy that we need to always move fast is so harmful and dangerous and counterproductive, especially when we're talking about the kind of work that has real meaning and creates real impact. Can you imagine if somebody was like, hey, Maya Angelou, hurry the fuck up? Can you imagine if somebody went to Dr. Gabor Mate and was like, hey, hurry up with your processing your life's work so that you can help heal millions? We tend to massively underestimate how long things need. One of the things that is true for me, and I have learned over and over and over again, and therefore it's part of my teaching, is that for many of us, the tortoise fucking wins the race. You know, that old story about the tortoise and the hare? And it's like, yeah, bro, go slow. Otherwise, you're just skipping over you.
Yeah, seriously.
And the other thing that it connects to is what you talked about is our pain. When we allow ourselves the proper time to heal and learn and integrate from our experiences, that's when we can use it to help others. That's when it becomes part of our medicine. When we've really sat with it, integrated it, allowed it to take root and blossom into something. then I have something to offer you. Not just some wisdom, but also some fucking compassion, which a lot of people don't have or undervalue.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, wow, wow. I do feel this ties into our next piece, which is about the bridge to the current, what is up for you now, your current focus, what's on top of mind, heart. You spoke about brand before as one aspect of that and the practical application. I would love you to speak a bit on brand because you're talking about brand is not a four dirty word. And so how it ties to,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
this conversation.
So, what is very alive for me these days is brand as art and brand as leadership. People sometimes have this like allergic reaction to brand or branding, and they're like, I'm not a brand. I'm like, calm down, bitch. Nobody said you were a brand. You have a brand. You have a brand, and it would do you well to give some thought and care to your brand. And so, what I mean by that is it is a fun and very practical vehicle for your artistry and your leadership. You don't have to, nobody says you must formulate your copy to sound like this. Your website must look like that. Your offerings must follow this template. Nobody's saying that. You can be as creative, abstract, wild, graceful, messy, playful, serious as is true for you. And that's what I'm talking about is there are opportunities for you to really just double down on honoring you. How do you want to be seen? How do you roll? What do you like? What's your style? What's your aesthetic? How do you really speak? What do you really think about the work that you're doing in the world? And then strip away all the other shit and give it to people straight and give people more of your creative process and give people more of your story. And then that does two things. It makes you a lightning rod because you're just like, again, I'm thinking about the person with the trench coat flashing everybody. It makes you a lightning rod because you're just bringing the realness. You're telling the full story about who you really are and where you come from. That creates trust and credibility and intrigue. You're choosing your fonts, your colors, your media, your design based on your preference. And that tells people your style. And it's like, you know what? I fuck with that. I really like how you're presenting yourself. And I want to align myself with somebody who is that authentic and honors their creativity. The other thing that happens, aside from becoming this lightning rod, is you become a filter. When you're like, I'm going to tell you about me as a Reiki healer, and I'm going to do it through poetry and dance. And I'm going to do it through painting. And I'm going to do it through just like gazing into the camera. And I choose not to use all of this words and language. Great. That's going to filter out the people who are going to be like, that's not for me. I really need somebody who's going to explain what's going on here. What is Reiki? Where does it come from? How does it work? But the people who are like, yo, what are you doing? I'm drawn to it, they're going to love it. And the people who are not your people are going to bounce. So it acts also as a filter. Brand as leadership, brand as art, because it's kind of this never ending opportunity to just keep honoring yourself. What do you want to express? What do you want to share? And in doing so, you're obviously giving other people permission. You're modeling, like, hey, you can be a teacher, you could be a coach, you could be a professional dancer, you can be an accountant for all I care. You can do it your way. You know, that's massive permission giving.
Oh my God, yes. I'm transcribing this. I'm taking notes later. We'll pull that whole thing. It's going to be a whole thing on its own. That's so good. Yeah. You said a portal for more true expression and leadership. That's what brand is. And I love that. A portal, true expression, leadership. And then, of course, this piece that you just spoke about with filtering, which helps the other person see if you're meant for them.
Yeah.
And I love the way that you said that.
Yeah.
Anytime you speak about it, I feel it brand itself. And, you know, it's kind of like that debunking kind of thing. Like, oh, this is what people think this means, or everything you just said helps simplify and just really give. Yes, it's permission. And it's also just like, it's very much aligned with everything you know I'm about with liberation of that OG code, liberation of the expression of the raw real as it is right now, and that all of that is a representation of who you are in this moment, and that raw real authentic is what's craved and needed and is of service, right? And yeah, so good, so
I'll
good.
just say one last thing about it, which is put off to the side other people. Oh, who is this a lightning rod for? Who does this filter out? How effective is this at growing an audience?
You're right.
Leave. Best part is it makes you better at whatever it is that you do. The best part is, I wrote about this recently. If we learn to train our focus away from external validation, train our focus away from conformity, we train our focus more on ourself and what wants to come through. And the more you can stay there and the more you can do that, the more you can operate from that space, the better you become at listening. Hello. And I'm not talking about listening to who's out there in the world, but listening to what is meant for you. And the more you increase your capacity to receive the thing that is meant for you. Whether you identify as an artist or not, again, you could become the greatest accountant that ever lived by increasing your capacity to honor your self-expression and your creativity and to lead with your truth, leadership. If anything, what I'm talking about is just a practice to cultivate your mastery because you're focused on just being present and like allowing the thing to come through. Make space for the next thing to come through. Make space for the next thing to come through. Don't worry about how it's going to be received. The piece that I wrote was there will be crickets. Do it anyways. Don't sit around and wait for the applause. Do the thing, do what you like, express yourself. You can refine it, you can evolve it. Stay and deepen that practice. And you'll just be so good. You'll just keep getting better.
Yeah, the nectar of your own creative force moving through your body is what I was feeling. And then also you were talking about rite of passage with it. That when we put our art right out,
Yeah.
that being a rite of passage.
It is a rite of passage. And I'm thinking back to when we were speaking to the person who has doubt. Oh, this is part of it. Who will listen? Who will resonate? Who will hit reply? Who will share? It is a rite of passage to move through that excruciating experience of pulling out of yourself the thing that you want to say or draw or create or the song or the book, whatever it is, and to courageously put it out in the world, not knowing what's going to happen. The scary thing is not like, oh, I'm going to be seen. The scary thing is the possibility that nobody's going to see me. I wrote it in the pieces, yeah, visibility without being seen. That's another thing that people are just like, the fear of being seen, visibility, increase your visibility, increase your visibility. Get the fuck out of here. Stop. It's being visible and actually not being seen. That hurts. That sucks. And it's also a rite of passage. Because when we move through that, we realize, again, we shouldn't be hanging our hat on external validation, waiting for the applause. What did the metrics say? How many people liked it? How many people shared it? What's the engagement? It's get through that. Get through that cringe, get through that fire, get through that heat, and then do it again. And then do it again.
Yes,
And then
yes.
do it again. And learn to love yourself through it and learn to not beat yourself up and learn to judge the work less and just keep it going. And inevitably, the results will come.
Two things. Thank you. podcast. Like this platform, everything you're saying is exactly what I feel will be what comes with this podcast. Yes. These are seeds. This is offered with love, non-attachment. The non-attachment is a constant cultivation for me, it feels, in a really beautiful way. I keep thinking I'm non-attached, and then the parts work is helping to be like, okay, there's where it still is pretty strong, and that's cool. I'm just gonna love that and honor that. But we were talking in our conversation how this, everything you just said about the rite of passage and the crickets, and like we're putting our art, how it ties to freestyling. And we can start to close. We'll do one more after this, one more really fun thing, and it's closing. But um, freestyle. I wrote a whole document, many of them, about just everything I can think of about the benefits of freestyling. And really, it's everything you just said, mostly non attachment to being heard, received, understood, letting go of overthinking, self judgment, fear of judgment, hesitation, all these things that limit us or keep us silenced or less than expressed or holding back in any way. Freestyling is an invitation to drop all that all at once, all in one single fucking moment. And not just when we start a freestyle, but also the entire time that we're in that wave of allowing that direct conduit experience of just, I have no idea what's about to happen. I'm in full surrender. This is what it feels like in my body. And so, yeah, I could say more about it in all the times that I personally initiated through freestyle portals in complete privacy in my own space, in pub, like last night, whatever, literally last night, mics, no mics, ciphers, hip hop, not hip hop, beat, no beat, literally. And the biggest key and the most epic thing about it is fun, is the master key. Fun is the only way through. Fun is the way through the tunnel. Enjoyment, right? So I just wanted to tie that to what you were saying because, yeah, if we're in the enjoyment of the creation, this is a calling. This is something that wants to birth through me. And I just stay with the enjoyment. Even when there's moments when I'm like, yeah, I can't force this right now. Let me go dip in the ocean or whatever I need to do, create those conditions like you talked about earlier, which is a huge, huge thing. What do I need? Checking in, but then just being in the enjoyment, not thinking about all this other stuff of who will receive it, who won't, who will understand it, who won't. And even when we push, okay, I'm publishing this now, wherever that's about to be, same thing, and being in that practice. So thank you for that, because that's literally years and years and years and years for me of when I first released a music piece and what I'm about to release some music, about to release podcasts. So I think that's an ongoing invitation for everyone that ever tunes into this, because I know we're speaking to creatives, trailblazers. Like we're going to be putting some leading edge things into the world. So we get to cultivate this practice. So thank you for putting words to it and being a pillar of support and love and also that reminder.
So good. So good. Freestyling, the spirit of freestyling, whether it's, yeah, bars, you're emceeing, you're freestyle dancing, you're freestyle painting, you're freestyle cooking, you're freestyle making love, you're freestyle any of the thing to just be in the enjoyment of it. And I feel like the freestyle practice that you have and what I'm referring to in this share with the world regardless is it's also a progression away from how you were saying who's actually driving this mothership. Most of us, I feel, for the longest have had the harsh critic in control. And what we're both talking about is a practice that leads to liberation from that. Where when you said, what are the conditions right now? When we notice we have doubt, when we notice we have resistance, it's often because it's like that critic is in control. The overthinker is in control. The one that's been shamed is in control. And it's like, these are all ways what substance, what you teach, what you share, what I'm over here talking about. It's like, these are ways and practices to get up out from underneath that so that we're having our life experience more from the fun and the joy, the creativity and the expression, the leadership, the compassion, and less of the like, well, this is how it should be, and you're doing it wrong. It's like, of course we're going to be resistant. Of course we're going to have doubt. Of course we're not going to do the damn thing if that's who's running the show.
Amazing. Well, I'd love to, this has all been so juicy. I'd love to close with the question of what are your top three values? What comes up and how does that relate to your work and your expression of legacy?
I have to preface by saying I would have a different answer for this after lunch. Like, I would have a different answer for this after I take a bath. I would have a different answer for this tomorrow. And in this moment, I will go with the myriad of ways we can practice self honoring, self reverence. I love that word, reverence. Self reverence. This, it can be the journey of healing, of self intimacy, of learning how we want to express and then cultivating that. And then, second would be compassion. Many of us have been through an awful lot in our life, and that just naturally creates compassion because we know what it's like. And for those of us who maybe have had a more soft, cushioned, or privileged life, developing compassion is it's a critical skill because aside from not being a dick, we also get to expand our worldview. That's another benefit of compassion. It allows us to say, like, wait, hold up. Maybe there's something to what they're saying or something to what they're feeling. Just a little bit more of an expanded worldview. So I think that's super important. And then the third priority would be crafting a life that's in alignment with our values. And this one is, I don't mean this in like a lofty, esoteric way. I literally mean this in the day to day. Like, strip your schedule bare, go outside and get some sun, sleep at least, 8 hours if that's what you need. Craft a good life for yourself. It's imperative, and the world will have you believe that it can't be that way, but it fucking can. You can minimize stress in your life massively. Spend as long as you need to craft the life that matches your values. It's worthwhile. And P.S., not other people's values. Don't go bending over backwards trying to craft a life that matches their values where you're like, I need to ball hard. I need to make six figures. I need to da 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 da. No, 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 no. What are your values? Go get that.
Thank you. Exactly. Yeah. Thank you. Rihanna helped me see that also the word legacy, where does that fit in? May not be relevant for some and or an orientation. So that exact thing you ended on about values is exactly what this whole platform is for. To encourage and to reframe that actually our legacy is our daily walk in our values as our values as the frequency of what those things are. So if my value is compassion, I'm holding this field in this energy field of compassion. I'm holding this field of reverence. Yes, I know my values. Reverence is definitely at the very top of that. Specifically, reverent reciprocity, reverence and reciprocity mixed together. Those two. That's it. This platform is to help make the legacy an accessible daily thing. And then when you were saying all that, I was like, yes, yes, yum, yum. And then I wrote down this note. I'm like, legacy of naps. Because you were talking about sleep for 8 hours if you need to. So if someone's fucking legacy is I'm gonna sleep motherfucking 12 hours, my legacy is my 12-hour ass nap. And that's my permission slip. That's my offering to the world. Take a fucking nap.
Love it. Yes. 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 Oh, you wordsmith. Yeah. Our daily walk in life. That's honestly the most impactful thing than like some one-off grand accomplishment.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah, and I'll wrap with that piece of someone bringing that word legacy up recently to me, being like, "Yeah, from this perspective, blah blah blah," and I was like, "Okay, this is why it's soul legacy. It's not just my ego trying to be like, let me build this multi-million-dollar thing and have this organization or this whatever. It's like that's the soul code, that's the OG code coming forward, and it's your unique soul imprint, and that could look any way that that takes form, and it is taking form through our whole path and through that daily walk. So it's not some kind of invented grandiose from some place that I can't even track in my body. It's literally like body led, soul led. It's like everything that we actually are, our true signal being our legacy, you know? So I just wanted to put that out there. Yeah. Is there anything you would love to share in closing?
I love you. You're a genius. You're kind. You're beautiful. You're prolific. Yeah.
You too. This has been such the biggest honor. I could list I have a scroll over there. It probably couldn't fit everything I would describe you as. So we'll leave that for a whole nother podcast. But this has just been the greatest gift. And that's my favorite thing about connecting with you is that joy, that instantaneous. I mean, Shrikala said it recently. Riyaana got them enjoyment codes, you know? So I'm so grateful you're sharing your radiance with us on this platform as our first guest, in this new space, this fresh canvas.
Mm.
Thank
Bless
you
it.
so much for your time. Oh, yeah. Grit it up. Your time, your love, your gifts, your wisdom. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. My pleasure. And to all of your listeners that are tuning in, you can find me at my website. One of the ways that I craft a life in alignment with my values is I don't really spend time on social media, which feels good for me. And for some people, they're like, yo, that's where it pops off. And I'm like, good for you. But you can find me at my website, RiyaanaHartley.com.
Yes, sweet. We'll link everything. Anything we talked about today, you'll find more below on the show notes. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Wee. We'll see you all again soon. Thank you for tuning in. Blessings and love to you. Thank you for vibing with us on the Soul Legacy podcast, where we remember together and live our legacy daily. If today's episode ignited something in you, please amplify that. Subscribe, leave a review, and share this with someone you love. Want support birthing your vision? Book a free call at the link in the show notes below. I'm here to hold you down and lift you up, always. Until next time, have fun on the adventure of perpetual upgrades. And remember, you are precious, you are loved, you are love. And I'll see you soon.